The news broke like a thunderclap on a clear day. Ford Motor Company, an icon of American industry, made an announcement. It was a decision so seismic it sent tremors through the nation's economy and its political landscape. The date was September 10, 2025. It will be remembered as the day a corporate giant made a move that felt, to many, like a betrayal. The airwaves crackled with the news. Financial markets reacted instantly. But the most significant reaction was yet to come. It would emanate from the manicured lawns of Mar-a-Lago, delivered with the force of a political hurricane. A single man, a former president, was about to make this corporate decision a national crisis. This wasn't just another business deal. This was different. This was Ford, the company that put America on wheels, the company that symbolized the power of the American worker. The announcement was a complex web of global strategy and financial calculation, but for millions of ordinary Americans it was simple. So, what exactly did Ford do? The announcement was multifaceted, but its core was devastatingly clear. Ford declared a historic partnership with a state-owned Chinese automotive conglomerate. This wasn't just a minor collaboration, it was a deep strategic alliance. The deal involved sharing critical intellectual property for next-generation electric vehicle battery technology. More alarmingly, Ford announced the joint construction of a new multi-billion-dollar EV gigafactory. It would not be built in Michigan. It would not be built in Ohio. It would not be built in Kentucky. It would be built in Mexico, just south of the U.S. border, creating an estimated 15,000 jobs there. Ford's CEO cited textbook corporate strategy, lower labor costs, favorable trade agreements from Mexico, proximity to key South American markets. To remain profitable, we had to make tough decisions, they said. But that logic offered little comfort to American workers. First, fear of job loss. Second, partnership with a state-owned Chinese entity sparked national security concerns. Critics warned of economic espionage and hollowing out America's technological edge. The silence from Mar-a-Lago did not last long. Just as the morning news shows were dissecting the implications of Ford's announcement, the response came. It was not a carefully worded press release. It was a digital eruption. On his Truth Social platform, Donald Trump unleashed a torrent of fury. The message, posted in all capital letters, was raw, emotional, and unmistakably his. Ford has betrayed the American worker. They are sending our jobs to Mexico and giving our best technology to China. This is a disgrace. I would never let this happen. Sad. The reaction was immediate, visceral. It set the tone for the political firestorm. This was not a calculated political statement. It was a genuine explosion of anger. Trump followed with a rapid-fire series of posts. He attacked Ford's leadership by name, calling them globalists, traitors. He accused them of being weak, pathetic, claiming they had bowed down to China. He reminded followers of his prior efforts to keep Ford jobs in the U.S., framing this as a personal affront. To understand the depth of the outrage, one must understand what Ford represents in the American imagination. The company is not just a car manufacturer, it is a cornerstone of the American story. Founded by Henry Ford in 1903, it revolutionized not only transportation but society itself. The Model T was not just a car, it was a vehicle of freedom and possibility for the common person. Ford's innovation of the moving assembly line transformed manufacturing globally, creating a new kind of industrial might that became synonymous with the United States. Ford was, in essence, the engine of the American century. The company's history is deeply intertwined with the rise of the American middle class. Henry Ford's radical decision in 1914 to pay his workers $5 a day was a landmark moment. It was a move that allowed his own employees to afford the cars they were building. This created a virtuous cycle of production and consumption that powered the American economy for decades. Ford factories became the heart of entire communities, particularly in the Midwest. In the wake of the firestorm, the key players rushed to control the narrative. Ford's CEO issued a follow-up statement, attempting to quell the growing backlash. He adopted a more conciliatory tone, expressing deep regret for the anxiety the decision had caused. Ford is, and always will be, a proud American company, the statement read. This strategic move is not about leaving America behind, but about ensuring Ford can compete and win on a global stage for the next 100 years. A strong Ford globally means a strong Ford in America. The current White House was caught in a difficult position. The administration, focused on a delicate balance promoting green energy, supporting domestic labor, offered a measured response. Labor unions, representing thousands of Ford workers, were unequivocal in their condemnation. The head of the United Auto Workers called the decision a slap in the face to the hard-working men and women who have dedicated their lives to this company. He accused Ford of chasing profits at the expense of its own people and its own country. On social media talk radio, the public outcry was deafening. The immediate economic impact was felt on Wall Street. Ford's stock experienced extreme volatility. At first, investors reacted positively. Cost-cutting, an aggressive EV strategy, causing a brief spike. Political backlash intensified. Trump's threats of massive tariffs gained traction. The stock began to tumble. The market hates uncertainty. The decision sent a shockwave through the auto supply chain. For every Ford assembly job, there are suppliers of seats, tires, microchips, wiring harnesses. Much of that future supply chain could be rerouted outside the U.S. Small and medium American manufacturers face deep uncertainty. Entire regional economies felt threatened. The move had big implications for the American taxpayer. State tax breaks, federal tax breaks, grants, incentives. These were given with the understanding Ford would invest in American jobs and communities. Ford's announcement instantly became more than a business story. It became a defining political issue. For Donald Trump, it was honestly a gift. The situation allowed him to step back into the spotlight as the champion of the working class, a role he relishes. He immediately began using the issue in his rallies and fundraising emails, framing the 2026 midterm elections and the 2028 presidential race as a choice between his America First agenda and the globalist surrender of his opponents. The controversy placed immense pressure on other Republican leaders. Many who had tried to distance themselves from Trump's more populist economic policies were forced to take a side. To remain silent was to appear indifferent to the plight of American workers. As a result, a chorus of Republican politicians, from senators to state governors, joined Trump in condemning Ford. Democrats found themselves in a precarious and complex position. On one hand, they have long been the party of labor unions. On the other hand, the current administration has been trying to foster a pro-business environment to encourage investment. Looking forward, the road ahead for the United States is fraught with uncertainty, and the Ford controversy has only added more twists and turns. The immediate future will likely involve a series of high-stakes confrontations. We can expect congressional hearings where Ford executives will be grilled by lawmakers from both parties. The UAW's upcoming contract negotiations with Ford will be incredibly contentious, with the threat of a major crippling strike looming large. Donald Trump has been handed a powerful weapon, and he will wield it relentlessly. The Ford issue will be a central theme in his political messaging, a perfect example he can use to energize his base and attack his opponents. For Ford Motor Company, the path forward is perilous. Ultimately, this episode raises fundamental questions about the future of American capitalism and the nation's place in the world. What is the proper balance between free market principles and national interest? The fury over Ford's decision is a symptom of a deeper anxiety about America's future. The fallout from this one corporate decision will shape the economic and political landscape of the United States for years to come, defining the battles that will determine the nation's direction.